love to talk about my country. I'm very passionate about it. Mexico is the 13th largest country in the entire world. So if you count the biggest, I don't know which one it's actually, but Mexico is the 13th. Mexico has a lot of different type of land. It has from mountains to deserts to rainforest. And when I'm talking about mountains, I'm talking about really tall mountains. Some of them are volcanoes, and they're still active. What I mean active is that they're still inside some lava that it can erupt. But there are a lot of scientists checking on that and making sure everyone is safe in case that something happens. This volcano I'm talking about, it has a name that it's very difficult to say because it's actually in Nahuatl. Nahuatl is one of the native language that they have, and it's called Popocatépetl. And next to it, there's another one, that one is not active, that it's called Iztaccíhuatl. So when you're flying to go to Mexico City, you can see Mexico City, which is huge. Mexico City is the capital of Mexico. Mexico has 32 states. How many states has the United States? 50. Mexico has 32, and the capital is Mexico City. Actually, it's called Ciudad de México in Spanish. A long time ago, they used to call it Distrito Federal, but not anymore. So when you're flying and getting there, you can see to your left, depending how the plane is flying to land, you can see these huge volcanoes, and on the top of it, there's snow, because they're so high that there's snow on it. It's beautiful. The site for that, it's really, really cool. So I was talking about the land. They have everything. The most beautiful beaches ever are in Mexico, on the side of the Caribbean. So raise your hand if you have ever gone to Cancun. It's beautiful because it's the Caribbean. So there's a great amount of nice hotels, beautiful hotels. So it's really worth it once we're done with our pandemic to go and visit some parts of Mexico. Some people think that Mexico is all about sombreros and donkeys, and that's not how Mexico is. Mexico is really a huge city with beautiful old buildings and really big, contemporary, modern, new buildings. Like super tall. And they're brand new. They keep building and building, and the cities are very modern. Mexico has a coin that is called el peso. So here we have the dollar, right? In Mexico we have pesos. So this is what we call 10 pesos. 10 pesos, it's 50 cents. Imagine, in 50 cents in dollars. So every 20 pesos, 2 of these makes $1. And this is 5 pesos, and this is 1 peso. 1 peso, 5 pesos, and 10 pesos. I didn't bring any bills because I forgot, but the bills are pretty cool because they're kind of made of like plastic.
What?
Yeah, they're kind of like plastic, and when you crunch them like that, they will come back.
That's cool.
It's super cool. Too bad that I forgot, but I promise I'll bring you. Okay, so these are the pesos. Okay, what else am I going to talk about? Well, the tradition. Mexico is all about about traditions. It's all about families getting together. And that's something that comes from long time ago, from generations after generations. So Mexico before, when nobody of us were born, not even my grandma or my great grandma, they were native Mexicans. And they had different tribes. They were called Nishikas, Aztecs, Mayans. So these tribes were the first ones that lived in Mexico. And they were the civilizations were so amazing. They knew a lot of astronomy. They knew a lot of how to discover different gemstones and metals. They knew how to paint beautifully. They did a lot of crafting and a lot of stuff that has taught us a lot about our culture. I'm pretty sure that Suad already told you about the pyramids in Mexico.
Not yet. Today
Oh,
is
no,
our,
not
today
yet.
is like
Okay.
our first.
So the first civilization that we know about is the Nishikas. The Nishikas, they were a civilization where they built their city in the capital of Mexico, which is Mexico City. So they needed to find a sign. They needed a sign to know where they should settle, where they needed to start to build their city. And one of the emperors that lived back then had a dream. And he said, you need to settle when you find a cactus, and in the cactus, an eagle eating a snake. So they were looking for this sign until they found it. And they found it in a place where there was a lot of water, like half land, half water, but they found the sign. So they built on top of that land, even with water. So downtown Mexico, the very bottom of the city, of that part where downtown Mexico is, now it's bigger than what it used to be, of course. It's built on water. Like imagine what everything that these native people had to do to make it flat. So that's why the flag of Mexico has the coat of arms with the eagle on a cactus.
See him standing on the cactus?
Uh-huh.
What does he have in his mouth?
And a snake.
Rattlesnake.
So that's where they built their first city. Those were called the Nishikas. But then, after a long time, the people from Spain, have they learned about Spain yet or not?
No.
Okay, it's in Europe. It's another continent, right? This is America, and they came from all the way from Europe using big ships. At that time, there was no airplanes. They used big ships, like Christopher Columbus, Hernán Cortés, and they arrived there, and then they kept the Indians. They did not get away with them, and they learned to live with them. But they also built on top of these pyramids their own buildings. Now, if you see on the board, SWAT has the one in the middle, SWAT under Mexico, under the one that says Mexico, right there. That's the Catedral. Catedral is like a big church. Okay, that's downtown Mexico.
This is the biggest church in all of South America, or Central America.
Okay, so that big church,
That probably is that big church.
uh-huh,
Yeah, there it is.
La Basilica it's called, that one, every year it sinks from 5 to 15 millimeters. That's how
wow.
every year.
I
Because
didn't know that.
if you see it, they keep constructing and doing stuff to try not to make it like fall. And under all that plaza that you see, there's a ton of pyramids. And there's a lot of excavations, and they find a lot of stuff from the Nishikas. So it's really amazing to know that under all that, there was a city with pyramids. And then there were another groups that they were more modern, like they came many years after that are Teotihuacan. In Teotihuacan, it's another city that it was from the Aztecs, and they built these pyramids. They're huge. The pyramid of the moon, the pyramid of the sun, and they had a whole civilization. They were very smart. And there's more in the south part of Mexico, where Cancun is. Right here, there's another civilization, they're the Mayans. And they also had their pyramids. Now, these pyramids were found because there were some travelers a long time ago that they were cutting under like the jungle, all the trees and everything they were exploring, and then they found these pyramids that the vegetation, the jungle, completely covered them. They didn't know, it was like mountains, but they actually found these beautiful and amazing pyramids. So that's the very background of the beginnings of Mexico. What has this left to the world? First, the pyramids of Teotihuacan, they're considered one of the, how do you call them? Of the world?
Wonders of the world. Seven wonders of the world.
7 wonders of the world, which means that they're amazing, okay? You all love chocolate, right?
Yeah.
Well, they were the first ones that found chocolate. They found the cacao, I don't know how to say it in English.
That's right.
Cacao. And the people from Spain tried it. And they loved it, and they took the cacao to Europe. And everyone then started getting to know the cacao, which is what you make chocolate of. So, also the Turkey, it's also from America, like this part. The Europeans didn't know that Turkey existed, so they also knew about that. That's the pyramid of Tenochtitlan, correct? Is that what it says?
Doesn't say.
Okay, yeah. That's in the south of Cancun. And then where you see the land, the water, the ocean with those huge rocks, that's Los Cabos. Los Cabos is in Baja California. This is this part. This part right here.
That's where the
Los
volcanoes
Cabos.
are, the ring of
No, there's no
mountains?
volcanoes. The volcanoes are where Mexico
Down here.
City is. Yeah. And they're surrounded. Mexico City is surrounded by mountains. Everyone thinks that Mexico and every part of Mexico is warm, and it's not true. Only the coasts are warm, and some parts on the very north can be hot, but they can be very cold too. Like Mexico City, it's cold, and it can be. Actually, you can have 4 seasons in one day. You wake up and it's chilly, so you need probably a jacket, and then in the afternoon it's a little bit hot, so you have to take it off, and then it starts to rain, so you need a raincoat, and at night it's chilly again. So there's not seasons like we have seasons here because we're very close to the equator, and when that happens, the weather is kind of crazy. Okay? All right. Now, the things that I brought is for you to know. First of all, in Mexico, there's a lot of houses that are called, they're kind of ranch, they're huge ranch, and they're called haciendas. The people, the wealthy people, they owned a lot of land, and they had big houses in the middle of the land, and they're actually beautiful. Like there's a lot of things. Mexico is known as one of the most beautiful countries, talking about buildings, colors, and they keep renovating them because they're very old buildings. This is, for example, this person right here, it's an indigenous. Some people stayed in these villages and they never went to the civilization, like to the big cities. And they keep the traditions very alive, like all the things that came from the Aztecs, like they made tortillas and stuff. Actually, I brought something. I have so many things, but you told me when to stop, okay?
I can listen to you for hours.
I know. So there's beautiful houses that people has built. This is a beautiful beach. So here, I would be lucky to have a house right there. But yeah, Mexico is beautiful. Okay, now the kids long time ago they played, and the parents made their own toys, and they still sell them. This is called a valero, and it's handcrafted. It's made by hand, and you're supposed to move it like that and try to get the ball inside. So I'll leave it here if you guys want to try later. Okay, I'm very bad at this. My mom is so good at this. She grew up playing with these toys. Okay, and this is an airplane that is more modern, but they still sell it in the markets a lot. So it's also handmade. Tourists love to buy this. This is a trompo. The trompo, I think it's supposed to have a thread, yeah, and then pull it, yeah. I don't have it. And this is a typical doll that you will see everywhere. And these indigenous people, they sell them for nothing. And they make it by hand. This is how they dress, like the people that stayed in the villages that are not in the civilization. This is how they dress, and they do have their beautiful hair like that and braided like that. And they sell this like for in dollars, like not even $2. It's sad. Yeah. So these are very, very common in Mexico. And the people sell them on the street. Like they sit down there with everything and people passes by and they buy from them. Or they settle in markets. But to be in a market, I think you have to pay for that. So there's people that they don't have money to pay for the market. And this is a little Pinocchio. So I brought toys because I know you guys do know. Okay. Now, you know about the piñatas, right?
Yeah.
Okay, piñatas are for every celebration in Mexico. Sometimes even weddings, birthdays, New Year's, posadas, which are the Christmas parties. Christmas in Spanish is called La Navidad. Okay, I brought a pretend one because I didn't have one, but the original has this 7 cone The original ones are made out of a pot, like a clay pot, and they use paper mache, and then they fill it out with fruit, candy, toys. They're not doing those anymore because they banned it, I think, and they're using like big balloons, and with the big balloons they're using the paper mache, and everything is carton, and they use.
What do the 7 points represent? 7 continents? Or?
No, it's actually religious.
Oh, okay.
It's I don't know how to say the 7 sins.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Catholic?
Yeah. The 80% of people in Mexico are Catholic. Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure you already know about the sugar skulls and the skulls because did you take them?
No.
Oh, shoot, I didn't bring them. In Mexico, there's a day that it's called the Day of the Dead. That it sounds creepy, but it's actually a beautiful celebration.
Mm-hmm.
It's a celebration of life, which means that you are remembering the people that passed away, the people from your family, your close friends, someone that is no longer with us in this earth. We remember them, and we make a party to remember
Celebrate
them.
them, yeah.
It's a celebration of life. Raise your hand if you watched Coco, the movie. Okay, well, that's what it is. And this is one of the sculpture that they sell when you go to the pyramids. I don't know the name of the stone, probably what no. But they're not semi-precious, but they're like really good stone. And they sell them there. This is what the Aztecs used to wear in their celebrations and different occasions that they had. Okay? Then there's here's a pyramid also that I bought in, I don't remember, it was Chichen Itza or Teotihuacan. This is closer to Mexico. I don't know if this is onyx is very expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is not onyx. I don't know what it is. Okay. Then there's a sport that is very common in Mexico that is called la charrería. La charrería is kind of like the cowboys in the United States. Have you ever seen cowboys with their hats and on horses?
No.
No? Okay, well, la charrería, it's the same. My husband comes from a family of charros. So he has the entire outfit. It's very heavy and it has silver, like all this part. But that's why I never bring it. But yeah, I'm gonna show you a picture that shows pretty much. Okay, these are all the types of sombreros. I brought one. And what they do is there's also women, charras.
Oh, nice.
Uh-huh.
So were they owners of ranches?
Uh-huh. And horses, they have a lot of horses. And I want to see one with the horses actually. And the bulls, what they do is
You have to tell us about your father.
oh really?
Yes.
Okay, this is called la escaramuza. La escaramuza is it's girls on horses and they dance with the horses. It's beautiful.
What?
Yeah. It's very beautiful. And my mother-in-law was one of them. So she gave me. She recently passed away, and she gave me a lot of stuff from La Charrería. And my husband, when he was little, that's not him. But when he was little, he used to be like this, and he was always on a horse. And when he was 18 years old, he said, I don't want to be charro anymore. And his dad always thought it was my fault. I love it actually. Every time we go, this is kind of like what they do.
Do they ride her?
These are
Wild?
wild.
Kind of like a rodeo.
So they take
Like the
it out.
rodeo, and they do it with horses and they do it with cows too.
What?
Yeah, they tame them.
Mhm.
It's an art form and it's like you
And
have
it's a
to
sport.
understand
Believe it
that.
or not, it is a sport. Okay? All right. About my dad, I didn't bring anything about my dad because the bullfighting sport comes from Spain. And Spain brought it to Mexico. Okay? So my dad used to be a bullfighter. He was born here in the United States, actually, in Kansas. And because my mother-in-law, my grandma and my grandpa came to United States to live here, and he found a job in Santa Fe Railroads. And they had 5 kids, and one of them was my dad. And my dad once visited Mexico, and his cousins took him to a bullfight. A bullfight is like a dance. That's what my dad always told me. Like, don't see this as something that is bad. These type of bulls are bred specially for bullfighters. So it's kind of dancing with the bull. So they have capes, and these capes, let's pretend this is my cape. Okay, let's pretend this is my cape. So the bull comes here. Okay, who wants to be the bull?
Me.
Okay, so Hash, me. Okay, you're gonna be like this, okay? These are gonna be your horns. And you are going to follow my cape, not me. The bull will go where there is movement. So I'm gonna stay still, and I'm gonna do this, and you're gonna follow the cape, okay? Okay, ready? And then they go like this. Yeah, but you stop at some point, or you're gonna get. Okay. So there's different types. Okay, who wants to try again?
But your father is in.
My father was a very famous
He was
one.
very
He became very famous. Here, okay, where are your horns?
And
Okay, go.
some of his stuff is in a museum.
Yeah. If you look for my dad, Jesus Cordova, you'll find it on the internet. He became very famous.
What's the first name?
Jesus, like Jesus.
Okay.
Cordova with B.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was very
So
famous.
he went to Mexico and he loved them. And when he arrived to the United States after that trip, he told my grandma, I want to be a bullfighter. And my grandma didn't believe him. He was 16 years old. And she should have believed him because he actually stayed. That's something that nobody can do, no. No. But he did. And suddenly he went all the way to Mexico, and an aunt, a great dad, told my grandma and said, Jesus is here, just to let you know. And he never returned to the United States. At that time, you had to have only one nationality. And he was